Hi everyone! Better later than never. So this is my video about pictures which I finished in January. January was a lazy month after a quite busy December, so I won't have a lot of works here. First one is this winter wreath from Botanicum. I finished it in the latest days of December, but I haven't shown it in the previous video, so here it is. Background here is made with Prismacolors and the rest with polychromases. And I think that the most happiest thing here is how I selected colors for the pine tree. I think that pine tree really looks nice. With each new finished picture, I think that I get better knowing my polychromases and their property and on what paper they work the best, so I think that it will be more and more tutorials with these wonderful pencils. Next is this Victorian Christmas tree from Rhapsody in the Forest. And here I am happy that I stepped away from traditional Christmas colors. I think that the background here really looks like old Victorian time wallpaper, and I also decided to use unusual colors for the bow. Everything here is colored with Prismacolors, and the most challenging thing was to find proper colors for the pine tree again. I love that when I added a little bit of blue colors here, pine tree looks more realistic. I had huge plans for this book. I wanted to color Christmas spread of 2 pages with charge, but maybe next time. In Sagor Ok Zakner, I colored this Santa Claus, but in Russian style. Here we have a tradition of blue clothes for the Santa, and I decided not to use reds. I am happy that I added background here, not very complicated but still nicely looking, and it reminds me about clear winter morning. I hope that you can also see small snowflakes here. Again, I had a lot of winter pictures in mind to finish in this book, but still January was quite lazy for me. Sometimes I didn't want it or wasn't able to color, didn't have enough time, or sometimes I was just lazy to make a video also. I think that I just needed some time to refresh, to step away from coloring. So all cute winter pictures from this book I will put in my next year plans. Surprisingly, in January I colored one picture in each of 3 Maria Trolle's books. So from the Bloomston Mandala I colored a wreath, which maybe is a full wreath, but I still wanted to make it a winter one. I used colors which are traditional for poinsettia for the main flowers. Now I just need to find it in my book. I love that here on the black background everything look really bright and everything pop up on the page. But my favorite part on this wreath is this pale lemon yellow, pale green flowers, and that I added blue into some leaves, and in this way the wreath really looks like a winter picture. And of course I added a little bit of snow and snowflakes. Everything is done with polychromases and they really lay down very well on this paper. I also love that I added some orangey yellow touches to the leaves of the rowan. I think that it helped to refresh this wreath to add some merry colors. After I transformed this fall wreath into winter one, I decided that it's a very fun thing, so I used the same thing, transforming this spring picture into a winter one. And I was inspired by a Russian folk fairy tale, A Silver Hoof, about a goat or a deer who stomps his hoof and produces a lot of gemstones and gold. So here I have a winter scene, coloring all the leaves and flowers with blue, covering the background with black acrylic, and I decided to transform lilies of the valleys into golden ones and to add bright colors to the area around the hooves. Again, it was a quite interesting experience and I like to transform things. This folk fairy tale book was one of my favorite books in my childhood, and I already used it as an inspiration when I colored my Mistress of the Copper Mountains, and I think that I will also be using it in my future colorings. Anyway, it was a very interesting experience. For this picture, apart from Prismacolors, I also used soft pastels from my new set of Faber-Castell soft pastels, and I love how deep are dark colors in this soft pastel set. Next book is Magical Christmas, and I finally finished this spread with candles, which I started in December. In December I did a background using neon colors because background is really huge, and then I put it away for some time. But when I looked at this picture I immediately have in mind this idea of a heat from the candles on the background and then of floating flames and floating smoke from the candles. So I tried to express it in this picture. I used contrast between warm colors of the background and cold blue colors of the candles, and as a last touch I added a little bit of white gouache paint to create this smoke from the flame. And I also started this very challenging spread of Tudor Christmas. It has so many details, but it's one of my favorite pages in the whole book, and in a day I will show you a finished project. When I record this audio, I already finished this picture. This picture has so many details, and the most challenging thing is how to attract attention to the main characters and to the most interesting parts here, and to help them to pop up on the background, not to be lost on this so very detailed picture. As I said, January was a month of relaxed coloring, so I decided to get back to Ivy. It was interesting for me to connect part of the picture where we have text and the rest of the page. So I used polychromacies for the background and soft pastels, and small details I colored with Prismacolors. I love that I managed to stay in limited color palette, and I think that during this week I will finish a left page also, and I will have a finished total project. And also I did another picture from Ivy. It was a little bit more challenging. I saw so many beautiful varieties of this page from other colorists, and a lot of them did a wooden background, so I decided that I need something different, and I wanted to express this difference between a rusted metal wall or metal door and paradise garden behind the door. Maybe I was a little bit carried away with this rusted metal background, but it was fun to color. Everything is done with Prismacolors, and of course I used a lot of blender to smooth the background. I'm glad that I transformed this picture into something of my own, adding my own idea and not repeating something which I saw from other persons. After a lot of winter pictures, I decided that I definitely need a summer one. So I selected this one from the jewelry box. By the way, have you heard a good news that it will be an English edition of the new Hannah's book, and it will be available both from Amazon and Book Depository. I think that it's absolutely great. Here I used neon colors too for the background, and I also added a lot of golden sparkles around bees. I used here a very simple contrast between warm colors of the background, berries, leaves and house, and blue-violet colors of the bees. It was a step out of my comfort zone. You know that I prefer to color realistic, so violet bees are my big challenge for me. Again, I am happy that I managed to stay in a limited color palette, coloring leaves in similar color to the background. In my last works, I really tried to limit the choice of colors, amount of colors I use. I think it's an interesting thing to practice. In January, I got 2 new coloring books. This is my fantasy bestiary, and couple of days ago I published a video how I colored this one. I called it a keeper of the Lake District, and here I used my set of 12 shades of grey acrylic paints, and for the details I used Derwent drawing and Prismacolor pencils. It was really fun and I enjoyed it. And another beauty I got in January is this book of portraits by Anastasia Ellie Koldereva. In my opinion, Mystery is her best book so far. I started to do this portrait with polychromasis, and I think that it's a project for which I spent the longest amount of time during the whole my coloring hobby time. I work really slowly on this one. I love my current result and I enjoyed process, but I am so afraid to mess it up on this stage that I colored a small detail, I put it away for a couple of days and then I try to process. So I hope in maybe a week I will show you a finished result. Anyway, the book is absolutely great and I love each and every of the portraits here and also very inspiring. I am a member of Anastasia group on Facebook and here we have a lot of beautiful already finished pictures and it's a source of inspiration for me. So that was my January, not the best and not the worst coloring month, but I think that I managed to recharge my coloring batteries and now I am ready for more challenging coloring projects. I thank you for watching and I will see you in a day with my finished project of Tudor Magical Christmas. Bye!